Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Eye on Icon. In this episode, we are going to take you through the weekly news, everything that's happened on Icon. And as always, this is brought to you by Icon Plus. Icongrapher, how are you today?
Well, we just got our second daily close above $2. So I think it might actually be finally where we won't see below $2 again. So I'm certainly encouraged by that. It's been a fun way to spend the weekend thus far, and I imagine every other iconist is feeling the same way.
Agree. You literally just brought it to my attention about the price action, and I quickly looked at the charts, and we just have the biggest green candle on the 4 hour, on the daily, on any timing segment, which brought a smile to my face. Unfortunately, it's a Sunday morning, so I couldn't crack open a beer and join you in celebrations.
Yeah, fortunately, being Saturday night for me, I get that luxury.
Good. Well, you can have an extra one for me, and I'll join you a little later tonight. Cool. Well, look, let's dive in. There's a lot of news to run through, and right off the bat, I just wanted to call this out. Exodus published a bit of an article around Icon, and it was great to see. Look, only reason I call this out is Exodus was one of the first wallets I used, and I continue to use due to the way they adapt and integrate various coins and make it extremely simple for the end user, especially a user who's new to crypto. And it's great to see them deep dive into Icon and cover it and actually actively promote it. So that was a nice little article and a bit of buzz around Twitter. That was great to see.
Yep, always, any little nook and cranny of the internet that we can get more exposure to icon, and the article itself had a pretty good overview of what they were trying to accomplish. It's pretty up to date, especially as far as BTP and everything is concerned. So those who stumble upon it will, they can walk away with a pretty good overview of what icon does, and hopefully they'll be in a position to dig in a little bit more and maybe even invest in some ICX.
Yes, the more, the better.
So another piece of news is the landing page for Craft is now live. This is a project that has been it's been in development for at least a few months now. I've certainly been very excited about it. For those who don't know what it is a platform to mint as well as exchange, I guess, trade NFTs, non fungible tokens on the Icon network. There are a couple of these in development. One of them we'll talk about in a little bit, just a little bit later. Actually, I think on the next topic. But I've been really excited about Craft. I know they've been working very very hard on this. It's they want to make sure they're getting it right, both in terms of the technology standpoint, but also from the user experience standpoint. So we did get some nice details on the website. I think the most, a couple of the more, a couple of details that stood out particularly to me were the fact that, when you sell the token, not only do you get the sale, not only do you get revenue from that initial sale, but they've also built in a mechanism to generate additional royalties for every subsequent sale that NFT goes for that gets sent back to the original creator. So I don't know. I don't know if I've seen the exact details on what mechanism that's going to be or what the kind of economics of that look like, but that's something I haven't really seen as far as NFTs are concerned. I'm not super deep into that world, so maybe it's a bit more ubiquitous than I'm aware of. But either way, I'm certainly interested to see how that plays out. I think that could be a pretty interesting approach to drive more users to Craft on Icon and potentially maybe away from Ethereum and other places like that. They're also going to have Craft tokens, which are the native token of the Craft network. Kind of basically a rewards token system to provide those who use the platform with additional rewards. So again, another kind of unique feature, one that I wasn't anticipating or expecting, but certainly nice to see. And overall, just the design of the website, the way it flows, and everything like that, it looks really really good. I'm hoping that the actual platform itself looks just as good as the website, because if it does, it's going to be very, very tempting for users to use. They've done a great job on that, user interface, and I have high expectations that they'll be able to do something similar on the actual platform itself. So we still don't have an actual launch date on Craft, but it does seem like it's getting closer and closer, just based on they're putting out more information. Obviously, they have the website out now, and just as time goes on, we're just going to get closer to the actual launch.
Yep, they keep mentioning an alpha. Look, the website is beautiful. You go to it, there's a wealth of information on there, and there's a great FAQ section. To your point, Icongraph, I think Rarible and a few of those Ethereum NFT marketplaces have this royalty feature built in. Obviously, as part of the either the platform or the token. However, it was good to see this on Craft as well. And what was cool about it was, so as an artist, you get royalties for all the secondary trades, but it's also built in that if I purchased a NFT, an art, say, piece of art from there, and then I went to resell it, and unfortunately, it just hasn't turned out to be the artistry piece I wanted it, and I'm not going to make any more money from it. I actually sell it for a loss. Then there's no royalties paid out to the artist, etc. So what's good about that is the user that has, the secondary user, me, who's bought it, I haven't made a profit, so why should I then have to pay a commission out of my
Right.
loss? And that's pre-built into it, which was I thought that was a really cool little standout feature there. And I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that just hasn't been revealed here. But what's great? Yes, the craft token, how it's all going to work. There's a great FAQ section, and how simple it's going to be to list NFTs in this marketplace. So yes, very very excited. Hopefully that alpha will be soon.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know we've been in talks with having the team on to talk about, give us having the team onto the podcast as one of our interviews to give us a bit more, insight into the platform and how it's all going to play out. So hopefully, now that they've got some more information out there, hopefully we can potentially put something together pretty soon.
Yes, I have asked a couple of times on the Telegram, and if they're listening, we're waiting. Uh, in line with keeping all the NFT news together, so we know the guys for Spartan Node, they are working on their NFT bazaar. We've covered it a couple of times, so there's a bit of news. They've dropped some big news on that front. Corey was on a podcast with them, and they shared a lot of details there, so it was a great little listen. So if you haven't already, jump on and give it a listen. But the recent article that they just dropped, obviously a bit of a timeline here. The LDX token was originally designed, to burn every 48 hours. Essential initial goal was to create that transactions across the Icon network. As they have recruited and kept building, and the idea of the NFT bazaar came out, and they published it. They have frozen all the LDX, not LXD, LDX token burns. So there's no more token burn happening there. You can stack it. The marketplace that they're releasing, which is called the NFT Bazaar, you will be able to use the LDX token to mint the token, to mint the NFTs. And now they've actually announced that all LDX holders will get a percentage of profit for every NFT sale on the platform, on the NFT Bazaar. So you can see here the original goal. I know you made a comment, just interested to see how all this turns out, from what it started to where it's now kind of evolving to, and there's a bit of more of a use case coming into the LDX token if it's integrated into the NFT Bazaar, and they're talking of future integrations on unannounced platforms as well. So we'll pause there right now, keep it focused on the NFT Bazaar. The other part of it, obviously the original plan was 48 hours moving it around, so a lot of tokens would get burnt, so they started with a really high total supply. They have hinted now that they're going to do a big burn to bring that total supply down, in light of how LDX has been evolving. One other cool little bit I like that they announced was, they're creating all these games that you can play through the bazaar, like old school 2D games, and they're making sure no copyright infringements, etc. But you can play and earn the LDX token by playing it. So I thought that was a bit a unique, cool little take on it. What are your thoughts, Icongrapher?
Yeah, I mean the whole LDX token and its tokenomics and everything like that, I'd say it's probably among the more experimental, and I say that from a positive standpoint in the sense that they're kind of trying some different things. They've been very flexible as far as what being willing to make changes or adjustments to their kind of tokenomics and their platform, and develop new use cases for LDX or better ways to add value or other ways that you can potentially use it. I imagine, some of these might not work exactly as they think they will, but it seems like they're going to be able to pivot pretty quickly. And I imagine by the time we talk again, maybe they come up with another use case for LDX. So it's definitely one of the more interesting projects I guess little mini ecosystems to keep an eye on, just because they are really trying to try new things and see kind of tinker with various different ways to utilize the token and provide maximum value for the holder. So it's one that I certainly like to keep an eye on and like to watch play out.
Agree.
There's been a new launch of the iconrepublic.org website. This is a white website that Marcus from Icon Hyperconnect had been working on for a while. I think he started on it several months ago with other kind of help from the community. It's a community-driven website. It's supposed to kind of become the new default Icon, project website where, when people want to learn about Icon or when people say, hey, what's Icon's website? Ideally, they get directed there. It's kind of a very good aggregation of, resources, all the different applications. There's got a number of different guides that are linked there. So you can really go there and it serves as a portal to kind of quickly understand everything that's going on with Icon and what everything is going on in the future. The first version of the website, I thought the first version was pretty well done. It was easy to find things. Everything looked pretty good to me, but I know there were some people who felt that it could use a bit of a makeover. And I will say that the new version certainly does look a lot better, a lot more polished. I think a bit more functional as well. So it really does paint a nice, a new coat of paint on it. Sometimes these superficial things like what exactly a website looks like, they can matter to potential token holders or even potential developers or potential investors. So the fact that they were willing to take another shot at it, really polish it up and make it really 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 good. I think it speaks well to them. So I think if you haven't visited the website yet, I certainly encourage you to do that. And if people ask in the future, hey, how can I learn more about Icon? Ideally you send them to Icon Republic because it should pretty much have everything that they need in order to get educated.
Yeah, look, it looks great. And when I went to it, the first thing obviously I check out is the DApps. And when I checked out the DApps, I saw only 3 or 4 listed, and I panicked straight away. I was like, "Oh no! How could all the stuff that's being built not be on here?" And then after I calmed down, I noticed actually there were different tabs. That they've allocated the DApps into various sections, whether it be DeFi or the other use cases that is being built out as well, which was great to see it categorized. So don't make the same mistake I did, but you can actually see all the various categories. We've got dApps and things getting built out in the Icon ecosystem. So there's a lot happening there. Great website. The team did a fantastic job there. Good to see. We have a bit of news on the IAM asset management. So just looking at that, what they continue to build out the uniqueness of this PREP. I really like what they're doing. I keep calling this out. It is very different. Just the other day, they announced that IAM and GPS Gaming will be putting 10% of the developers' dividends of the new game that's been announced for IconBet called Jungle Jackpot. So 10% of the devs who've put this game up will go into the AUM for all IAM holders. So I really like this because remember, it's essentially them building an index fund of various tokens, and we reap the dividends off that fund as long as you're an IAM token holder. So over here we can see the team has leveraged on their relationships with IconBet, obviously, because a lot of the founders are part of IconBet as well. And not only do they hold the TAP token as part of the in their portfolio that they keep adding to, on the other side of it now we seem to be getting the devs percentage of earnings that comes from their games. The way the IconBet platform works is, it's for the players, but you got devs who can create games and they get a percentage of profits from their game to themselves because of all the time they spend creating the game. And here we have that they've created these games and now distributing that component of the profits are coming through for the IAM holders as well. So hopefully they've hinted that this is not the only time we're going to see this. So again, these are variations of ways that they're adding to their portfolio. Um, I love it.
Yeah, and speaking on the game itself, it's another game getting added. I've lost track of how many there actually are now. I want to say, I think it's over 10, but seems to be almost growing by the week to a certain extent. I know it's not that quick, but that's kind of how it feels. But this one, I saw a screenshot of it, and just looking at it, I usually don't immediately look at a game like this and say, oh, I definitely want to play it. But just the way it was designed, it was really well polished. It just looked like a lot of fun. I think whoever designed it spent a lot of time studying the way colors and jungle animals and everything like that can make people react, because it certainly was one where I definitely wanted to play from day one. So definitely excited about the game. Definitely excited about the partnership. More innovation as far as kind of what I was alluding to earlier with the LDX. Another form of innovation here with the Icon Asset Management Token, the IAM. So as you just mentioned, it's not certainly not the last partnership. So it's looking to see how they continue to add value to that token. And again, yeah, a very innovative approach to providing value to their holders.
So, in other news, and this is big, CPS. The first round has officially finished. So we've gone from proposals to voting to outcomes. And it was great. So the entire process has run its course. It's great to see. So I believe we had 7 teams successful, and on the other side we had, I say teams, but I should say projects. So 7 projects successful, and on the other side 3 projects were rejected. Now, a new round, the way the CPS works is it goes through stages, 14 days, 14 days, and then right after that, a new round commences. So, uh, for the teams that got rejected, it's sad to see. However, I can already see a couple of teams have been very vocal on Twitter and various other forums asking for feedback, going, yes, okay, so what is it we were lacking? What more information do the teams, the PREP communities need to see around this, so that we can start into incorporating it into our plan and get ready to submit a new proposal, which is fantastic because at the end of the day, it is a great mindset and view to have, because it's not a denial could a rejection, I should say, can be for various things, and I really hope the various PREP communities that perhaps rejected or wasn't sure get involved when these teams are asking for a bit of feedback, because we want these things built on Icon. And a particular call out, the 2 projects that I noticed that got rejected, they are different. They are unique. They're trying to shake up their own industry, the music, the wine industry. So these are kind of, in my view, in my humble view, are things that we want to chase down and get to the bottom of, so that we can help get them created and their vision realized on Icon. Because we know all the DeFi stuff, we know NFTs. Now we've got builders. Everything's happening in that space. So some of the other different areas that are a bit more unique, and we're not sure if let's get that understanding we need, so that in the next round, as long as the proposals are they have that information needed, we can get it through to a bit of funding. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's not that the rejections were, oh, this is a terrible idea, we're not going to support it. It was more, hey, we like this idea, but we're concerned about the specificity on these certain components, or we don't necessarily think funding it in this mechanism is the most appropriate way, or other things like that. So it was all very, I felt, pretty productive issues that were raised as to why the projects themselves weren't approved. And I think it's this is the first round that we've gone through this. There's going to be a learning experience on both sides, both in terms of the people submitting projects, trying to get getting an understanding of what PREPs are going to be looking for, what they're going to be, what components of projects are going to be willing to fund, but also what specifically they're anticipating that the project supporters and those proposing the projects, that what specifically they'll be using the money for, how exactly they'll be building certain things out, everything like that. So again, I thought it was all very productive. And I think as far as the PREPs are concerned, they're getting a better sense of what type of projects are coming along, the best way to kind of see them how they play out. And as these projects get funded and times move forward, I think all of them, hopefully all of them go exactly as expected and planned. But in some cases, I'm sure just based on chance, there's going to be certain issues that pop up, or teams have to deal with some adversity or things like that. So seeing how P reps will handle that situation as well, whether they come around saying, "Hey, we need more funding because this is costing more," or they say, "Hey, one of our developers had to leave for personal reasons, so we're behind schedule, so we're not able to provide the update, to the level we thought we were going to do." It's all going to be, process playing out. Everyone's going to be kind of learning from it. So I expect it to not, everything. I don't expect everything to operate flawlessly from the get go. But thus far, I've been encouraged by the level of kind of give and take and productive discussion and thoughtful approaches on both sides.
Look, agree. And one of the call outs I wanted to make was, Iconist, you don't, even though it's P reps ultimately voting yes or no, and P reps will vote yes or no because one, to be part of the proposal and not have to pay fees to get back in to vote. But two, some of them are sponsoring the various projects, so they need to make sure, as part of the sponsor, they put up a bit of a bond against the total price, the total funds of the project that the project wants. So they need to ensure what they're putting a bond for is can be delivered, or they see that that plan is and that product will be delivered at the end of it. So they're doing their due diligence. But as Iconist, you can actually go to the CPS and see what, if your P reps that you vote for currently are in there voting for these projects, because ultimately that's what we want, and that's where me as an iconist, I can actually see who I'm voting for. Are they doing the right thing? Are their thoughts reflective of how I feel the ecosystem should be built as an iconist? And that's how it's all connected. So I wanted to make that call out. The CPS. If you're the person who's not just buying a coin to see the value go up and getting wanting to get involved in the community, that's a great place to constantly check and see how the votes are going and what P reps are voting for what. And going back to the icon forums, there's right through the voting process, there was a lot more commentary on each of the project's proposal pages, where people were asking a bit more information, or trying to understand a few things before they finished off voting for the project. So get involved if you want to. It's right there. You don't need any special user access to check it out.
So our next and final topic is probably, I'd say, the biggest piece of news that we've got this week. We've basically started to get much more insight into BTP. To me, it signals the fact that they're really starting to kind of ramp up their I don't want to say necessarily say marketing, but at least public awareness of BTP and what it does, and trying to clarify some certain things. I think they've been a lot of discussion about how the model will work, especially the tokenomics of it and everything like that. And now they're ready to start kind of presenting it to the world. So one of the main article, or I guess one of two articles that kind of came along, did a breakdown into the tech, kind of a more technical standpoint, the architecture of BTP and also the tokenomics. So, I think there's been a lot of discussion about what BTP is and what it does and everything like that. This article does a pretty good job of kind of giving a step-by-step, I don't want to say easy to understand because it is still pretty technical, but at least I think it can create a lot more familiarity with this process. It is several different steps, and it involves multiple smart contracts interacting with each other. And of course, it requires another blockchain itself to have certain smart contracts as well, or at least be able to participate with BTP. And so, the way I would encourage you to read the article to go through it and kind of get a sense for yourself. But essentially, it utilizes various relayers to send messages between the various blockchains. It utilizes, I think it was 3 different smart contracts in order to conduct these processes. And I think the most important part of this aspect is this process operates itself between just in on the chains themselves, right? So on the Icon smart contract, and interacting with whatever other smart contract Icon is connecting with in this given situation. We have other similar cross-chain capabilities such as Orbit Bridge, right? But in the case of Orbit Bridge, it's it's essentially a third party that you have to put some reliance on. It's a centralized point of failure, in the sense that if Orbit Bridge goes away or something happens, the Ethereum that you've minted from Orbit Bridge that you've now had on ICX, if Orbit goes away and the smart contract gets corrupted or whatever else might potentially happen, I think it's a highly, highly unlikely thing, but it is something to consider. whatever, that Ethereum that you've wrapped that's been generated by the Orbit bridge, it's almost worthless now because you can't necessarily get it back over. So it might have some value on the Icon ecosystem, but it's not quite the same. Whereas the Icon smart contracts itself are what operate the BTP process, again in conjunction with the other chain. So it's a lot more reliable. It's doesn't have a centralized third party that can get compromised or corrupted or whatever and break the whole system. So from that standpoint, it's a pretty unique approach to cross-chain capabilities, and something that is basically potentially setting a new standard as far as interconnectivity is concerned. They finally revealed what the tokenomics are for BTP itself. We had gotten some allusions from Scott, during our interview with him a while back, that there would be some encouraging news as far as the tokenomics are concerned in terms of ICX holders themselves being able to benefit. And that's what we got. And so I guess as part of the process of every BTP transaction will require a 0.2% fee. And that would be paid in then whatever native token, I presume, is being transacted in that given case. So if it's Ethereum, then 2% of the value of the Ethereum, it'll get put into a separate smart contract and then put up for auction to ICX holders. So ICX holders potentially have an ability to purchase another asset at a discount via auction. And obviously this is a clear benefit to those who already hold ICX, because hey, if I can own, if Ethereum is trading for $1,500 but I can buy it for $1,400, that's obviously a huge benefit. At the same time, now all of a sudden there's a lot more people out there who say, hold on, if I have ICX, I have a better chance of getting cheaper Ethereum or whatever else it is. It's not a huge groundbreaking, oh my God, I got to go buy ICX now. But it is just another little piece in the pie of making it more and more valuable to hold ICX, whether it's the staking rewards, whether it's the benefits you can get from DeFi, whether it's a number of the other dApps that are coming out that'll utilize ICX, whether it's the low transaction fees, the quick transactions, but the low transaction fees. There's just more and more reasons to hold ICX, and one of them necessarily on its own isn't just this crazy, oh, everyone's going to rush into ICX now, but each one individual adds up to a pretty good case as to why holding ICX, not just for token speculation as far as future value, but for actual utility of, hey, if I want to utilize this cool service or this cool feature or this cool platform, I need to hold ICX in order to do it. So, that's it. It was nice to get a bit more clarity on that. I imagine as time goes on, we'll get more and more clarity. But what it seems to me is that they're getting ready, I think, to announce an actual chain that they were going to connect to. Scott said it's his goal to make, by the end of this year, Icon the most interconnected, interoperable blockchain out there and connect to more blockchains than any other blockchain out there, which is a pretty ambitious goal. But if that's to happen, we should expect at some point in time we start hearing, hey, we're going to connect to this chain, we're going to connect to this chain, that sort of thing. And so, I think that'll be nice for a couple of reasons. First of all, we'll get better clarity on exactly, how this is all going to play out. This is kind of the final boss of the Icon mission, at least from the start. This is what they set out to do in 2017. Now it's finally, the first version of it's being accomplished. I don't think they're going to finish this and then say, okay, we're all done. But it is, kind of the milestone that they've been pursuing for a while now. And to finally get clarity on exactly how it works, but also who it will work with and the way each one will kind of get integrated and utilized and value created and all that other stuff. That'll be really encouraging just for Icon holders themselves, because, it's sort of the through all the pain and the bear markets and everything like that, those who still hold, finally the dream is being realized. The other side of that, though, is that, we had the creation of MyID during the bear market. Every few months, we'd get another handful of members get added to the MyID Alliance. It would come out in spurts of really good news, of really encouraging firms and banks and companies and other entities saying, hey, we're going to be on board. But the problem was, in a bear market, even the best of news doesn't do anything to the price. It doesn't really create a whole lot of excitement other than those who are already really, really excited for the project. In this case, we're presumably going to start getting snippets of announcements coming out saying, hey, we're connected to this chain, we're connected to this chain, we're connected to this chain. And each one is going to have that same effect of MyID, except now we're in a bull market. There's a lot more attention on crypto. There's a lot more enthusiasm. we're back at a point in time where, it's back to where a situation where news actually can move the price. And so if you think about the fact that, hey, between now and the end of the year, every, I don't know, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 week, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I don't know what the exact time frame would be, we're going to get another new announcement, and it's going to be, hey, ICX is connecting to this chain, this chain, this chain. And I think, a lot of the chains, they're not going to be small little dinky, ranked 250 on coin market cap. I think they're going to be ones that, pretty much everyone in crypto is familiar with. There's going to be an immediate recognition of value, and create a lot of hype and excitement. And even if not everyone understands exactly what it means or what it does, hearing that Icon's going to connect to Ethereum or one of the other major chains, it's going to have an immediate impression on a lot of different people in the crypto space. It's going to create a lot of excitement, and I think it should really rejuvenate a lot of the, or I guess get rid of a lot of the concerns that have kind of developed around Icon over the years. I think there's so many people who bought it because it was hyped up in 2017, watched the price drop, and then haven't checked in and just assumed it had gone away, or it was just it's a dinosaur project or whatever it is. But coming back and saying, hey, here's the technology we promised. We're also going to be utilizing it on these top tier chains. I think it'll be really, really positive for the ecosystem. I think it's something I think it'll start soon, and I think it'll be really, really positive that people get really excited about.
I think I really like your comment, the way you broke down the My ID announcements. So the way I saw those, yes, they happened in the bear market. They were exciting, but the nature of those announcements were that's all we got. After that, we couldn't get any more around it or deep dive into it because of NDAs and private firms, etc. And
Right.
that's where it's stuck. Here, we're a little bit different. Now, we know there's still all that stuff happening in the background, but now we've got a public chain able to connect to other public chains, and getting an understanding of what it will enable as soon as these announcements come out and the potential, I feel we'll have a lot more there, and a lot more will come to light far quicker than what we're seeing from the My ID space, that it has to be heavily regulated and just cannot come out with information that they probably want to get out there but just can't because of the nature of it. So yeah, that's a really good distinction and call out you made there. Um,
I think it's also a little different too, in the sense that my ID. I think to people again who are following the Icon project and could connect some dots and say, okay, there's another my ID announcement. It doesn't say anything about ICX,
yep.
like the token or the Icon public chain, but we knew there were several different dynamics kind of going on behind the scenes. With the authentication technology and everything like that, where it pointed pretty strong positive signs towards the Icon public chain being utilized at some point. But again, there was still some ambiguity there, and so it gets compounded to where if it doesn't immediately say ICX token or Icon,
Yep.
the press doesn't really pick it up, and then you spend half your time trying to educate people who are asking questions at the community of, hey, is this good or bad? I can't quite tell. Whereas in this case, it's going to say Icon public chain to BTP with whatever other public chain or
Yep.
whatever other chain it's connected with. So it'll be a much more, it'll be far easier to generate that immediate understanding that'll really help drive enthusiasm.
Yep. The other thing, the original announcement, I must confess, I did not see the technical breakdown. So we will have that link along with the original announcement in our show notes as well. Um, uh, we are keen to bring someone on to help break this down and give use cases around it. So stay tuned for that. But one of the things I liked, the initial announcement said there was a working group, and you can see that Icon DAO and the two other teams that were part of this group. Now, me being a little bit inquisitive, I got in one of the tweets or forums, I can't remember, and I asked Icon DAO because I was very keen to understand: is this kind of just happening, or how long have they been actually working in this working group? And when I posed the question, someone responded and said, "Oh, we've been in this group for over a year now, and we've been working away on this piece." So I love that. I love that this is not something that's just kick-started. The working group hasn't formed, in the last 2-3 months. It has been in the background. People have been working away, and it comes in line with Scott and Rick and Min. They've always kept hinting things are happening, big things. People are going to be happy, but that's all we got, and the announcement stuff kept happening. But here's what it's been leading to, and you can see the teams that were involved. If you ask them, they'll actually openly tell you we've been on this for a while now. So I really like that. Um, the last the last one I already covered that part. I'm looking forward. This coming to fruition is great to see. And Icon 2.0, I cannot wait to get a go live date for that. And I loved the way you've covered it, Iconographer. Like, you've given an extremely simple overview of how it would all work, how it benefits icon holders, and the potential now it has for every integration that gets announced uh, from the to the icon ecosystem and what it could lead to. I can't wait. What a day to run this through when we have such a giant green candle on the cards as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Great. Is there anything else you wanted to cover off, Icongrapher? I feel we've done a thorough breakdown of the news.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. Again, another week filled with plenty of good new developments. Obviously, finally getting some clarity. I guess some more clarity on BTP has been huge, and excited to kind of see if I'm right, that it's kind of a kickstart of a new wave of outreach and explanation and everything like that as far as BTP is concerned. And of course, over the next month or so, we're going to start seeing ideally the launch of Balanced, potentially OMM, and I think a couple other dApps that are slated to release sometime in April as well. So, as far as the final weekend of March is concerned, we're looking good, heading strong into April.
Agree. I think Icon Plus has got a interview again with the guys from OMM talking through. I don't know if it's been released or it's about to come out. I should be across this stuff, but that should be exciting. I know they've done one before, but now we're getting close to D-Day. It'll be great to see what comes out in that interview. As always, again, everything we've talked about today, these are our views, and we're just breaking down topics on everything that's happened on Icon. This is not financial advice. We are entering a very exciting time in the growth stage of the Icon ecosystem. So obviously, when we talk about it, we are excited and can't wait to see how things turn out. So hopefully, everyone listening is just as excited. And once again, if you are listening, please subscribe, like, share this around. Let's get the content. Let's get Icon out there to new people, to new years. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care, everyone.
See ya.